This is a video on how to properly clean a Sega Mega Drive 2. I only have experience with the European model known as the Sega Mega Drive 2, but from what I can gather from pictures, this guide should also apply to the American model known as the Sega Genesis 2, but it will not work for the Japanese model, also known as the Mega Drive 2. This is not a guide on how to repair a Mega Drive 2, so first I will test to see if the system works using NBA Jam, which is one of my favorite Mega Drive games. On the back of the controller there's 6 screws you need to get out. Then you lift the back of the controller off and then you will have one of either of these designs. If you have the green design, you remove the cable and then the board itself from the shell. Then you can remove the rubber pieces and the buttons. What can be cleaned is the front, the back and the 4 buttons. The rubber pieces, the board and the screws should just be put aside for later. The design with the brown board is largely the same. Again, you have to remove the board and the wire, although it can be a little tricky on this one. And again you have to remove the rubber pieces and the buttons. On this one you can even remove the rubber piece on the D-pad, which you could not on the green design. On the console itself there's 4 screws on the bottom you need to remove. Then you can flip the machine over and remove the top. On the top piece you have to remove the power and reset buttons by pinching the sides and then pushing them out with a screwdriver. For this thing in the middle you can push these 2 tabs and then pull it out. Then we can remove these 3 screws to remove the cartridge slot. Then remove the 2 springs from the cartridge slot. Be careful when doing this, as both of my springs went flying. Then you need to remove 9 screws all around the big metal plate. After that it can be removed and put aside. Never blow into or touch the cartridge slot, as you may corrode, rust or bend the pins. Now unscrew the 2 screws around the cartridge slot. After that lift up the board. It may be a little hard because of the controller ports. Now separate the board, the metal piece and the little plastic piece. Also remove the little red plastic piece. Even though it says do not remove, removing it does no harm. Here's another little thing you need to remove from the bottom. Now dust off the board. I would recommend using a Q-tip for this. Now put the board aside with the cartridge slot facing down so no dust gets into it. Then clean the 2 metal pieces with a towel or cloth. Now you should have everything in this picture ready to be cleaned. This next part requires that you have a sink. If you don't have a sink, then check your local library, as they may have one you can borrow. Fill it with hot water. Then add a little dish soap and stir it around in the water. Now put the parts in the hot soapy water one at a time and scrub them with a brush of some kind. Remember to get into every nook and cranny. If you think you have brushed enough, then do it a little bit more just to be on the safe side. Be careful not to lose any of the small parts like the buttons down in the pipes. After a part has been washed, put it down on a towel and let it dry for at least 1 day. Be careful to not snap these flaps out of place. And when washing something with stickers, be careful not to scrub on the stickers themselves, as they may be damaged by it. Then let it all dry on a towel for at least 24 hours. Here is what you need to put together a controller if you have the green board. First, take the front piece and put in all the buttons and the rubber pieces. Don't worry about putting the buttons in the wrong places, as they all have a slightly different shape and therefore cannot be put in the wrong place. Then put the board back in without tangling the wire, then put the back on, and then screw all the 6 screws back in. If your controller has a brown board, then it's pretty much the exact same. First the front, then the buttons, then the rubber pieces, and then the board without tangling the wire, then the back, and then the screws. For the console itself, you start with the bottom and then put the metal plate without the big hole in it. Then this little plastic piece which keeps the board from bending when inserting or removing a cartridge. Then put in the board starting with the controller ports, as they have to fit through the holes. While the board is accessible, put this little red thing back on. Then find the 2 longest screws and put them back in next to the cartridge slot. Then put on the metal plate with the big hole on the top. Now take the shortest screws, which there should be 9 of, and put them in the holes which I've marked on this picture. The last thing you need to attach to the bottom is the expansion port cover. Now for the top piece. Start by putting in the reset button on the right and the power button on the left. Make sure the text is not upside down. Then on the back you can snap this little piece back in, which is for the power LED. Now put the 2 springs back in the cartridge slot. This can be very tricky, especially when filming it, so sorry for the bad footage. Now put the cartridge slot back in and put a medium-sized screws in these 3 holes. After that, simply put on the top again and screw the bottom together with 4 screws in these places. And that's it. You now have a much better looking Mega Drive 2.